We just crossed 6 months since the last major update for Cyberpunk 2077, and it's very likely we're embarking on the largest gap between major updates that we will ever see for this game. Despite that, things are still happening. Cyberpunk 2077 is getting consistent updates on SteamDB, work is definitely being done, but CDPR also just revealed when the next patch is dropping, and we have all of that Phantom Liberty stuff and even the Cyberpunk 2077 sequel that is supposed to start production later this year. In this video, I'm going to give you the updates, where we stand right now with Cyberpunk 2077, but also some of the surprise things that you probably missed, and also a look at the future of this game and what's next for CDPR. I do have some bad news though. Unfortunately, as of right now, Cyberpunk 2077 does not have vehicle-to-vehicle combat or even vehicle customization. With the current builds of the game, those cars from the dark future are really just for getting you from point A to point B. Or you could just recreate those cars in today's video sponsor, Crossout. In Crossout, you're able to build the vehicle 10-year-old you dreamed about and then take them into all-out conflict. You have complete creative freedom over your vehicles here, ranging from hilariously jank to shockingly futuristic. Everything in this game is player-made, including some recreated Cyberpunk 2077 vehicles, and although designing your own car is incredible, the real fun comes when you get to the weapons. You have things like railguns, crossbows, flamethrowers, and even just a chainsaw for ramming into other people. The game features a crazy advanced damage model, so you can target specific vehicle parts to gain the upper hand in combat, or even just buy some of the best parts available, as there is a fully integrated player-driven marketplace. And to me, the craziest part is how simple this game is to get into. Even my Jankmobile was able to rack up a few kills relatively quickly. And yeah, pretending to be dead kind of works in this game. And it gets even better because you can play Crossout right now totally for free. It's on basically every platform, including PC, PS5, the Xbox Series X and S, but also last-gen consoles. And there are a ton of modes to choose from. Fast-paced PvP against other player-made abominations, but also PvE raids, battle royale, and even vehicle football. And if you want to really grow attached to your creation, you could take it into the narrative-driven open-world adventure mode that you could play solo or with friends. I spent an embarrassing amount of time over the past week playing this game, and you definitely should too. So download Crossout totally for free using my link below on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, and you'll even get an exclusive bonus pack for both new and existing users. You'll get 3 days of a premium account, unique stickers and decorations, and even new players will get the unique Adventure Seeker, which will be waiting for you in your garage. At the Game Developers Conference, CD Projekt Red just revealed that the next patch for Cyberpunk 2077, patch 1.62, is dropping on April 11th. And this is coming with at least one big feature. The Ray Tracing Overdrive mode that Nvidia showed off last year is finally getting implemented into the game. So now, unless you have some of the latest and top tier GPUs from Nvidia, you likely won't be able to actually run this. But even still, at the same time, Ray Tracing Overdrive finally getting implemented is actually a pretty big deal for Cyberpunk overall, as this will very likely be the premier example of path tracing in a modern game. Path tracing, which Ray Tracing Overdrive is going to utilize, is almost like a more advanced sequel to the traditional ray tracing that you're probably familiar with, and path tracing is very likely to be the future of gaming, just like ray tracing was. Path tracing is going to simulate a light's path even further. So when a light reflects in a puddle, then on a wall, and so on, it's going to be tracked and rendered, leading to a bigger upgrade on lighting overall, and things in the game will be much closer to how they work in the real world. You can see a pretty straightforward example of this in action via this comparison provided by Nvidia. So put simply, lighting in Cyberpunk 2077 will look even better with more reflections being accounted for. But that hopefully isn't all. Since this is actually getting numbered as patch 1.62, it seems pretty likely that at least some other changes or fixes will be coming. It's likely just going to be small things like bug fixes, and if you look over at SteamDB, you can basically see this confirmed. There are multiple dev branches getting consistent updates, and one of these is most likely for patch 1.62. While another one is for patch 1.7 and or Phantom Liberty. Which, speaking of, where is that update? The one most of you will actually care about. Well, as far as I can tell, it has never been officially clarified whether or not patch 1.7 and Phantom Liberty is going to be one singular update or two separate ones. But at least as of right now, it does seem pretty likely that these two are going to ship in one. For a while, there were people hoping that patch 1.7 would drop first, and then Phantom Liberty would follow it up sometime after, but in the past they released patch 1.5 at the same time as the next-gen version of the game, as well as the most recent Phantom Liberty trailer did show off some of the new patch 1.7 features like vehicle combat. So I'm assuming that patch 1.7 and Phantom Liberty will drop in one go at some point in 2023. But speaking of, what are some of the confirmed patch 1.7 features. As of right now, 4 major features are explicitly confirmed. There's going to be a new gameplay loop for Melee, and they continued this on by saying there would be new actions in the perk tree. This may or may not be associated with Melee, but the way they worded it, it definitely seems like these new actions are associated with Melee. So similar to how they overhauled throwing knives, I would suspect with patch 1.7, Melee is going to get overhauled and even have some new abilities associated with perks in the game. More cyberware feeling cyberware is one of the vaguest of the new additions. Does this mean cosmetic cyberware like many mods are adding in? Or maybe even just new mechanics around some of the existing cyberware, as well as some new cyberware options. One thing we have seen from the Phantom Liberty trailers is this gnarly Mantis Blade finisher that I can't properly show you, or this video would immediately be demonetized. But it would also be pretty cool to have some completely new mechanics or build paths introduced by some new cyberware options. There's going to be a complete overhaul to the comp system with a comment made to watch out for max tac. It seems very likely that this will involve an overhaul to how police arrive and attack you. Instead of them just spawning feet away, they're going to spawn in vehicles now, and in the latest Phantom Liberty trailer, we literally saw max tac arriving and dropping down via AV. If this is how things are going to function once you get a full wanted level in Cyberpunk, it's definitely going to make max tac a lot more menacing. But also, since the final confirmed new feature is vehicle-to-vehicle combat, which we also saw in the latest Phantom Liberty trailer, I do suspect that police chases will be a feature with Phantom Liberty and patch 1.7. There are already a bunch of mods adding this on PC, and it's definitely been one of my most fun mods to add to the game. You'd actually get on some lengthy and interesting police chases that really just makes Night City feel like far more of a sandbox. Those are the features that CDPR has directly confirmed for patch 1.7, but in an earlier build of the game, a list of planned DLCs was found in the files. And thus far, this has been completely accurate, so it's likely a big clue as to what other features are coming with this update. And to be clear, CDPR treats DLCs as just free content. You could really just consider these new features that will ship with the next major update. Some of these are really simple, like a new pose pack for photo mode, some new finisher animations for Melee, as well as a variety of what are suspected to be new weapon entries, several of which we have already gotten in-game. But the big one from the leaked DLC list that is yet to be integrated is New Game Plus. Last year, a dev from CDPR did explain why adding New Game Plus to something like Cyberpunk is going to be pretty difficult, but at no point was it actually ruled out. It was never confirmed this isn't coming. And considering New Game Plus is definitely one of the most highly requested features, I feel like there's at least a decent chance we also see this with patch 1.7, in particular when you consider the leaked list, so CDPR did have this planned at least at one point. But with that in mind, that does appear to be the official end for Cyberpunk 2077. CDPR has confirmed that in 2023, a new bundle will release, including Cyberpunk the base game, Phantom Liberty, and the final update, which is very likely to be patch 1.7. So if you're holding out hope for something like a second expansion or even a surprise of the multiplayer mode coming back, it seems like that's pretty much ruled out officially by CDPR at this point. The final version of Cyberpunk is slated to ship in 2023. But the big question to follow that up, of course, is when exactly is Phantom Liberty coming out? As of right now, we genuinely have no idea, and I actually think this is a pretty good thing, albeit being somewhat frustrating for those trying to plan out their schedules for the year. In the early days of Cyberpunk 2077, CDPR would give out way too much information on earnings calls. Things like dates, timelines, and even future plans. This is how we heard about the multiplayer mode that ended up getting scrapped, among a bunch of other planned and scrapped features. They also literally got sued over some of the comments they made during these calls, but for better or worse, in 2021 they largely stopped that, and with Phantom Liberty specifically, they have used the line, "We'll talk about it when we're ready," quite a few times now, which to me is a really good sign, as it does somewhat reflect that CDPR have learned from their mistakes with the original launch of Cyberpunk 2077 and just giving out way too much information or dates. And now they are staying quieter and giving their developers time to actually get the expansion right. And those devs have had quite a bit of time. We know development of Phantom Liberty began back in 2020, around the time the game released. And by the end of 2021, over half of the company was working on the expansion. And it's still largely that way today. The vast majority of CD Projekt Red has been working on Phantom Liberty for years now. Phantom Liberty is confirmed to already have a price set internally, and it's going to be priced accordingly per its size. It's definitely going to be a larger expansion, although it's not necessarily the largest in terms of content. We do know that this expansion has the largest budget of any expansion in CDPR history. Now, on one hand, this could be payments to some of the famous actors in the expansion. Both Idris Elba and Keanu Reeves will be heavily featured throughout, but at the same time, it definitely seems like this is going to have a lot of content, a lot of dev time, and is hopefully going to stick the landing. But as of right now, beyond just 2023, we really have no idea when Phantom Liberty is dropping. But we know things are definitely happening as we are consistently seeing updates on SteamDB, and in November of 2022, CDPR confirmed that they were concentrating on the final stage of development of Phantom Liberty. And Phantom Liberty is going to be a little bit different in terms of its content also. It's described as a spy thriller expansion, with many people assuming it's going to be laid out pretty similar to the Paralyzed questline that you have in the base game of Cyberpunk 2077. During this questline, you're investigating a mysterious circumstance that happened at this person's house who is running for mayor. This will evolve into investigating a mysterious organization with some spooky things going on. It's easily one of the best quests in Cyberpunk 2077 and may even be connected to Phantom Liberty overall, as some fans have been speculating that there could be some legit connections between this questline and what's been teased around Phantom Liberty already. But what we do know about Phantom Liberty is we're going to be working with the president of the new United States of America. During the first teaser trailer, we see their plane get shot down and we're seemingly going to be on the run with them, as well as we know there's going to be a new Johnny Silverhand-like character with Songbird. So what I suspect is the spy thriller aspect will be us working to find out who is trying to take out the president. And it seems like several major corporations will be getting involved in this. But even beyond that, Phantom Liberty is also taking us to a completely new district in Night City with the combat zone. This seems like it's going to largely be alongside Pacifica, or at least where Pacifica is in game right now. And based off the trailers, it seems like there's going to be quite a bit of new content in this area. The map will be getting a quite significant overhaul in the outskirts of Pacifica. So Phantom Liberty is going to be big. We don't know the exact scale, but it's slated to be a very large expansion overall with lots of devs and lots of dev time. But another pretty important aspect of this is it's the first piece of major content that's going to come to Cyberpunk for only the next-gen consoles and PC. Phantom Liberty and patch 1.7 will not be coming to the Xbox One and PS4, which could actually be a huge boost to what they're able to do with this content. I don't know, it definitely seems like CDPR is trying to build off of past mistakes with this new expansion. They already made one pretty big mistake with it, and that is they accidentally leaked it. With the past update to Cyberpunk 2077, CDPR accidentally included a bunch of Phantom Liberty files, and in these files were a bunch of the plot points for Phantom Liberty, at least work in progress plot points. I won't spoil that all here, but if you are interested in learning more, I did make a full video you can check out on that topic. But Phantom Liberty is going to be an ending for CDPR in more ways than one, as we also know this is their last project on the Red Engine, which they've used for numerous games at this point. After Phantom Liberty, CDPR is going to move on to Unreal Engine 5, and the Cyberpunk 2077 sequel, codenamed Orion, which has already been revealed, will start production, and it seems like it's still going to be quite a ways away, despite development beginning this year. For Orion, CDPR is actually building out an entire new studio known as CDPR North America. Some current devs will be moving over, but some new ones will also be hired. So despite the fact that the next AAA Witcher game is already in production, CDPR is not slowing down on the Cyberpunk universe, as this new studio is being built out just to focus on this new game and that franchise. And CDPR has confirmed in the past that after the release of Phantom Liberty, full work on Orion will begin. But this is going to be at a stage they consider earlier than even pre-production. It's mostly going to be focused on conceptual work early on. So CDPR has clarified that pre-production for Orion likely won't happen at all in 2023. Although that still isn't all, as a cornerstone aspect of CDPR's future plans is expanding some of their existing franchises into outside media. In several of the recent interviews and calls, they've mentioned that things like films around Cyberpunk and potentially even more TV show content could be coming or already in the works. Season 2 of Edgerunners has largely been ruled out right now, although we do know a new book is coming around the Cyberpunk universe, and at least based on my own personal interpretation, it definitely seems to me they have some other stuff in progress. I wouldn't be shocked if a Cyberpunk film of some kind is being worked on right now. So though, we are going to have a pretty long wait after Phantom Liberty for the next Cyberpunk game. It's not like the Cyberpunk franchise is going to be dead, as other types of content and media will be coming out. And thanks again to Crossout for sponsoring this video. Half of my fun in this game was just creating as janky a vehicle as possible and taking out that one enemy camping in the back. This actually worked, at least sometimes, and I want to take you out also. So download Crossout for free using my link below and you'll get some nice bonuses. But even still, that really isn't everything for Cyberpunk 2077. I do have some unfounded hope that modding will continue to develop and even potentially get more functionality in the future, especially because CDPR is moving on from Red Engine. That could potentially open a really cool window for modders to take full advantage of it. But there's also this unsolved ARG and FF06B5 mystery in Cyberpunk 2077, and they recently expanded this all the way into The Witcher 3 Next Gen, and you can even learn more about that saga in this video if you're interested. But otherwise, I thank you all again for watching and hope to see you all next time. Later.